The purpose of any writing, even it be an editorial or a report, is to make things clear. That is, the one who reads it must know this is what it is and not make it complicated. And you do precisely that, complicating things, if you overload your sentences with metaphors. Now, metaphors in writing on these topics is totally uncalled for in good writing, because clarity suffers. Metaphors should best be used by school boys or school girls for their essays. It should not find a place in serious writing. Now, let me come to some examples of very bad writing. This editorial on April 14 in national newspaper says, the heading is Communal Cauldron. Now, it makes one uncomfortable to have this mental picture of a cauldron. You know, there's a metallic, some kind of a vessel boiling and things like that. And then, of course, you have the adjective communal cauldron. Clearly, it is a metaphor. You are bringing in that vessel, cauldron, and boiling it, all that, to what could have been a straightforward idea. Now, this is a good example or bad example of bad English, or good example of bad English. Now, this is the sentence. Political parties are fanning riots. You fan, huh? Fanning riots in West Bengal ahead of polls. Then some verbs like festering, communal divide, the simmering. See, all those adjectives and adverbs used, then you get caught in all this. Simmering communal cauldron appear intent on pandering to communal sentiments. Well, it is really very bad English, and worse, I would classify some of these things as violent use of words, because you can't read all this in peace. They're all violence and extreme words that have that frighten you, that kind of thing. That also should be avoided. Any matter, even of a very serious kind, can be written on with prudence and with moderation. This is not the case at all. Now, there is something else, of course, of a different kind, and that is the editorial says, Bihar rumblings. Even that is a metaphor. Why say all these things? And then you get this thing, the sentence, with his advancing age and frail health, Mr. Nitish Kumar is under scrutiny. For what? If he's getting old and has got frail health, why should he be under scrutiny? They're throwing words about whichever way it is. So you can't understand the meaning of this thing when you say, with his advancing age and frail health, well, he ought to be visiting a doctor once in a way. That's all that is calls for. With his advancing age and frail health, Mr. Nitish Kumar is under scrutiny. The CPIML has lamented, wailing, lamented, all inappropriate, unsuitable verbs. As that's a past participle. Has lamented that despite this and this, it is given the smaller share of the seat pie. Come on. Do you have to go about in this circumlocutory manner, seat pie and cake and all that? So, it is given the smaller share of the seat pie. Then immediately another clinching one. The RJD too has its own demons to face. God, from where did these demons come? I don't know. It's terrible. You don't know. You get lost with these metaphors. That's what I want to say. Then, while the leading parties face challenges within and outside, there is also wider political churn. That also is a metaphor, unnecessary. And now I wanted to just tell you that all these things and metaphors are not necessary because serious topics can be dealt with by top-class papers in a very straightforward way. This is a serious matter dealt with in an editorial by an English newspaper. I'll read it for you and say that any matter, you need not bring in all these metaphors to make your point. You can deal with it in straightforward, good, simple, moderate English. Hilma Abreu Garcia moved to America illegally when he was 16, full stop. His lawyers say his parents sent him north after a gang in El Salvador threatened to kidnap him and rape his sisters. This is regarding this young man or old man, Abreu Garcia, who was illegally deported to El Salvador, and despite the court telling 9 judges saying that he should get back, he should be brought back, Trump has not done it. In defiance of the courts. It's a serious case, but no emotion, no extra metaphor. That's my point. But the judge ruled that he could not be deported because he had a well-founded fear of persecution, and so he was released. This is how the law works in America. It can be slow, evidence is not always clear, and judgments can frustrate everyone. Then the law broke down. In defiance of that ruling, Abreu Garcia was deported to El Salvador in March without a trial or a chance to appeal, and put in a prison that specializes in the degrading treatment of alleged gang members. Now, you see, it goes on very clearly. Every fact is covered, and then the clinching conclusion are without much emotion, and that is something like this: the administration cannot deny someone the protection of the courts just because they are not a citizen. If the detainees at Guantanamo Bay site of the worst abuse of domestic liberties ordered by the White House this century could appeal to a judicial process of sorts, Mr. Abreu Garcia had expressly been spared from deportation. Mr. Trump's grin mocked the principle that America is a place where the government cannot suspend rights whenever it chooses, and where the head of government willingly defers to the highest courts. In other words, that America is not El Salvador. Full stop. So any matter, be it a matter of very great emotion, can be written in good and plain English. In good and plain English. And we can be spared of these metaphors. That's my point today.